India's finance ministry wants to raise at least 800 billion rupees. Selling stakes in some of the country's biggest state companies may bring in only 620 billion. That still leaves a gap of 180 billion rupees. This is not only a story about a budget shortage. It shows how high oil costs, a weaker currency, and falling investor confidence can meet at the same time. India has a long plan for 2047, but it needs cash now. The bigger question is whether selling valuable assets can buy enough time without making the next problem harder. The sell-off reaches deep into India's state sector. The list includes Cochin Shipyard, Coal India, and the National Hydroelectric Power Corporation. It also reaches the Life Insurance Corporation of India, known as LIC, and a major state-owned commercial bank. These aren't small or forgotten companies. Coal India supplies most of the country's coal. Cochin Shipyard works on major naval projects. LIC manages the savings and retirement money of millions of people. The bank helps the government raise and move money. These firms normally support the state. Now, parts of them are being used to support the budget. The figures cited in the account give two examples. On May 22, the government offered an 8% stake in the state-owned bank. On August 5, it offered 6.5% of LIC. The LIC shares were priced about 10% below the market level, and the sale reportedly raised $3.3 billion. The government is also selling full control of some smaller state businesses. In January, 2 special project companies under a rural power group were transferred. In May, a company under the Traditional Medicine Ministry was sold to a private Indian buyer. The sales now cover fields from medicine and steel to shipping, coal, banking, and insurance. Even this wide sale may not meet the target. The expected total is about 620 billion rupees. The finance ministry's goal is 800 billion. That leaves 180 billion still missing. Selling more shares may close part of that gap, but it also reduces the state's future ownership and income. Why does India need so much money now? One reason given is energy. India imports about 85% of its crude oil and is described as the world's 3rd largest oil importer. Fighting in the Middle East has pushed oil prices higher. That sends more money out of India for every barrel it buys. The currency adds another layer. When the rupee falls, imported oil costs more in local money. Higher fuel costs then spread through transport, farming, and consumer prices. The government can limit some of that pain with fuel and fertilizer support. But those programs move the cost into the public budget. Political promises can add to the bill. Cheap food, farm support, and lower fuel prices may protect families and win votes. They still need to be paid for. When import costs rise at the same time, the budget has less room to move. The 180 billion rupee gap is one result of that pressure. The account also points to capital leaving India. It says overseas investors had taken more than 1.8 trillion rupees from Indian stocks by the end of April. Later selling reportedly pushed the total above 2.5 trillion rupees. It also says net foreign direct investment fell from a peak of $44 billion 5 years earlier to less than $1 billion. Those numbers are presented as signs of weaker confidence, not just a bad month in the market. The same account says 2,783 foreign companies closed their Indian branches in recent years. It forecasts that the number could pass 3,000 by the end of 2026. That forecast remains uncertain, but the direction matters. When companies leave, jobs, tax income, and new investment may leave with them. The source connects part of this change to artificial intelligence. India's large technology outsourcing sector has long earned money from coding and office services. New AI tools can now do some basic coding and routine work. The argument is that investors may send more money toward AI chips, large models, and memory technology elsewhere instead. Past business disputes may also affect trust. The account points to problems involving major international companies, including Samsung, Apple, Volkswagen, and Xiaomi. It argues that rules, limits, and uncertainty have made some foreign companies more careful. India reportedly eased some investment rules in March, but the limits still offered outside investors little control over important decisions. This is where the short-term money problem meets India's long-term plan. The India 2047 vision aims to make the country develop by the 100th year of independence. It covers manufacturing, farming, and food, technology, infrastructure, defense, green and ocean industries, and cultural influence. It also calls for a complete local supply chain, from parts and design to finished products. Modi has pointed to large gains in phone production, electronics, and defense output. These gains support the idea that India can build more at home. But a full industrial system needs patient capital, skilled suppliers, stable rules, and years of trust. A national plan can't create those things through targets alone. That brings us back to the first number. A vision for 2047 may be ambitious, while the budget still needs another 180 billion rupees today. Selling state assets can raise cash and create time. It cannot by itself lower oil dependence, strengthen the currency, or rebuild investor confidence. The evidence in this account supports a clear limit. India's challenge is not simply finding more companies to sell. It is keeping the next company from leaving, giving the next investor a reason to stay, and building the supply chain behind the 2047 plan. Whether the current sales can help start that work remains open.